All right, so I think we are starting to stream here. I'm going to get started with this in about 10 or so minutes. So um, we will start then. Yep, just starting the stream so that the link is live for when people start clicking on it. All right, I think we got 5 or so minutes until we start, which will be pretty exciting. BZ,
Hello, good morning,
good morning.
GM.
Can you hear me well?
Yeah, it's good. I think you should start the event so people can see it
Oh,
in
you're
the.
right. Yeah, so how do I start this? Okay, start. Start event. Okay, good idea. That's a great
Good,
idea.
good stuff, good stuff. Yeah. What else can we do besides?
I'm assuming a ton of people are just going to start joining at 10 because when I logged on this morning, I've been seeing people like going in and out of the town hall. So I think they're just like nervous to join. So
Oh, okay.
they're probably going to join in like 4 or so minutes.
Oh,
But
it's a voice. It's not a stage. I
yeah,
see.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I didn't want to make it
Hmm.
a stage because I didn't want people to feel like they couldn't like be involved. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. Stages are actually more popular for some reason. You get more like I don't know why you get a bigger audience. That's just like what I've seen.
Yeah,
Um,
I totally yeah. Usually stages like because people love to just like join in and listen, but I don't like stages because like people can't speak up and it feels weird. It sort of creates like a weird power dynamic. You know what I mean?
yeah, you're right about that,
Yeah,
and that's probably not what we want. So makes
yeah,
sense. Yeah, and the one who really wants to join, they're going to join anyways.
yeah. Exactly.
So
I mean, the worst case scenario is like someone unmutes and starts screaming, but I mean then we, then we could just like kick him out or something.
yeah,
Um, Welcome, Kelcoin. Great to meet you all. Kyle, Ty, hey everybody. We're probably gonna get started in a few minutes. I'm assuming a ton of people are just gonna join in at like
have
7.
you made an announcement here, Jacob? Like tagged everyone?
Oh, should I tag everyone? I guess I could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you should do that. Help them on that
yeah. Just in case anyone forgot.
because, like, ain't nobody got time. I have, like, 100 servers.
Yeah,
Uh,
true. I just hate pinging everyone because I feel bad because everyone gets a
yeah,
notification.
exactly,
But
exactly. But this is like a good time, I would say.
yeah,
This and maybe token minting or NFT, something like that.
yeah,
You
right.
just do everyone.
Yeah.
But it's
Um.
7 a.m. right now.
Yeah. It's 7 a.m. PST. It's 10 for me since I'm on the East Coast.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Um. Yeah, and I'm also streaming this to YouTube right now, so people might be tuning in there as well. Hey there, R29. How's it going?
Hi, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for tuning in. Um, yeah, so we got about 1 minute or so. I'm gonna wait a few minutes after just in case anyone's joining in late, and then we'll kick things off. I know that Bam also will probably be joining. Um, hey there, C Millie. Thanks for joining. Oh, you know what I should do in the meantime? I should also share my screen because we're gonna be using this screen. All right. BZ, how's that basic beast going?
It's going all right. Like right now, there's some time left for the hyper hack. So I do want to like combine those two,
Oh
build
yeah.
something new, and then there's something called IPFS grant. I need to finish hopefully today,
Yep.
and then just growing beast, right? So, oh, hey,
Yep.
cows,
Hey, Cows. What's up, Tommy? Good to
and
see you here
everyone else.
too. And Dean, you as well. Hey, Dean.
Hey,
How's
Long time
the
no see.
Oh, sorry. What do you say, Cows?
Long time no see.
Yeah, long time no see. I haven't spoken to you since Fast Forward, but it's great to see you here.
Yeah, it's been honored to be here.
Yeah. Yeah. Dean, how's the Genius project going?
yeah, going good. My only hiccup or frustration at the moment is waiting for our smart contract approval from the Dapper Flow team.
Oh my God, yeah, that's a process. Yeah. That's like the one of the most annoying things is like having to wait for like it can even be weeks sometimes before they get it deployed. I remember when I was like deploying my own contracts, or even for the MotoGP team, it took a few weeks and then they get back to you with some advice and then that takes a while, but hopefully it'll be resolved shortly.
Yeah, they say 4 weeks. We're in the end of the third week now. I mean, but they also said that it shouldn't take more than a few days once they start reviewing it, which they did. But they haven't had any concerns or questions, so who knows?
Oh, that's good.
Hopefully next week.
Yeah, that's good. Good stuff. All right. Also, we have Smina here. Yay. Hey, Smina. Good to see you as well. Thanks for taking the time to join us. Um,
Yeah, of course. Good morning.
Good morning. All right, so I'm gonna wait. I know I said we would start at 10. It's 10:01 or 7. It's 7:01 now. I'm gonna wait just 2 more minutes or so, just in case anyone's sort of stumbling in here late. I know all of you lead very busy lives, and I know you have a lot going on. So I really appreciate just taking the time to sort of learn about what we're doing. This is gonna be sort of like an introduction to like what Emerald City is, who I am, why you should care about me, and why you should care about the DAO, and we'll sort of go over like a process for what things are going to look like, and we can totally shape this as we wish. Hey Amethyst, good to see you as well. Good morning, Kyle. And I also like to say that if any of you have attended sort of these DAO sessions before, you might notice that a lot of the sessions are done in like a stage format. There's this thing on Discord called the stage where, you can all like join in a stage, but really only a few people are allowed to speak. I intentionally made it a voice channel because I want all of you to be able to speak up whenever you wish. This is, even though I'm sort of going to be leading this session, this is really an opportunity for all of you to just totally speak up and let me know about any comments or questions or ideas or anything you have. You could just unmute and let me know. So don't be afraid at all to do that. All right. Hey, Bam. Awesome to see you here too. Okay, so I guess we could get started. So I'm sharing my screen on Discord. Can you all see it? And also, you can feel free to just write stuff inside the Town Hall text channel. Just you could spam in there or let me know how you're doing or anything else that's going on. But you can all see my screen, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks, Dean. Spam. Now we got a bunch of people spamming. And we also got John Kim. Thanks for joining, John. Good to see you as well. All right, so let's get started. And I also like to mention that I'm sharing this, live streaming this on YouTube, so there might be some people tuning in there. But yeah, let's get started. So welcome everybody to Town Hall number 0. We're indexing from 0 here because this is sort of like the introductory call. And we're gonna get started on what Emerald City is, who I am. I was saying before why you should care about me, and why we should all join hands and sort of contribute to this DAO together. So who am I? Obviously the best person on planet Earth. I don't really know how that ended up on the slides here, but continuing, the lead smart contract dev at Decentology. So if any of you have heard of Decentology before, we're sort of doing this thing called the Hyperverse, which I'll get into in a bit. But I've been with the Decentology team. With some of the members are here actually. So John Kim is here and Samina is here. So they're both a part of the Decentology team. We've all become good friends at this point. And we do some cool stuff on Flow, but again, I'll be sharing that in a bit towards the end of the presentation. Just some also personal stuff about me. I'm a college student at Northwestern University, so I am, in fact, in college, although I took my last final yesterday, or no, 2 days ago at this point, so I'm all done with the semester. So round of applause for me for finishing the semester. I've been on Flow since June 2020, so once the Flow team did a open world builders boot camp in which they sort of introduced the Cadence language to a lot of people that wanted to, find interest in it. Of course, there weren't a lot of Flow developers at the time, so I've sort of been developing on the Flow ecosystem since the beginning. Also a cringe YouTuber, love League of Legends and Minecraft. I know some of you play League of Legends here, so I would love to team up. Love the Flow community and people learning Flow, and also have been a mentor for dozens of projects on Flow. And of course, I had to include my sort of anime profile picture that you'll see me as. And this is sort of me at my high school graduation, so I had to include that as well. And then who are you, right? So it's important to also sort of go over like, who are y'all? And this isn't, of course, I just put a slide about me because, I'm the one giving the presentation, but it's really important to sort of introduce all of you. And of course, this is not everybody. This is just a few people that I was copy and pasting Discord profile pictures. But, there's so many more of you. I think we have up to like 350 people now, which is crazy. I would say maybe like a week ago or a week and a half ago, we only had about 40 members. And over a 4-day span, we gained upwards of 300 people. So that was explosive growth, and so grateful that all of you are sort of taking time out of your lives to contribute to this community. And I would love to sort of get to know all of you. I know that you have introduced yourselves in the in the Introduce Yourself channel, but I'd really love to get to know each of you and what projects you're working on, and maybe how Emerald City can help advance you on your goals. And so let's sort of get into what's happening hashtag on Flow. The Flow ecosystem is growing rapidly, right? So it's been growing rapidly, I would say ever since NBA Top Shot. We've seen explosive growth since the Open World Builders Bootcamp about a year ago, that when I started developing. And there's a huge need for educational tools to onboard the community members. So if you go on YouTube or you go on, you try and find some sort of avenue for learning Flow, it's difficult, right? Besides maybe just joining the Flow Discord and asking some questions, it's not easy to sort of get involved in the Flow community. Now there's a lot of people requesting for Cadence developers. A lot of people want to make Flow projects, but they don't really know where to get started. And unless you've sort of been in the space for a few months, it's not obvious where you can sort of get going. There's no educational tools out there except for a few like Crypto Dappy, thanks to Ben at the Flow team. But really, there's no like central point for learning Flow. And I see Mr. says in the chat, I'm a strong holder of Flow and now an aspiring Flow NFTs collector. Yeah, that's great. So that's another thing, right? So people are now, making NFT projects on Flow, and there's been a bunch of cool stuff that's happening, but there's no really easy beginner point. And so that's sort of the point of this last bullet point, right? So even for non-developers, so people that are sort of starting in the, Web3 space, Web3 meaning like the blockchain industry, people that are not really coming from sort of that like JavaScript or Web2 sort of format, there's no good place to start there either. And so this begins sort of our mission as Emerald City. So to educate, which is to onboard people into Flow community, and to teach Flow and Cadence to developers and non-developers. So it's really important that we include both the developers and non-developers here, because there's a lot of people that are coming in, they know JavaScript, they know Go, they know Python, they've, maybe been a software developer for some years, but they're really interested in getting involved in the blockchain space. And so Flow is really their starting point for the Flow ecosystem. Now, there's also people where, they've been developing on Ethereum, maybe they know some Solidity, and so they're also involved, they want to get involved in Flow and learn what Flow's about, right? Why is it that we want to develop on Flow? And I've gotten a ton of questions on, why Flow over Ethereum? And those are great questions to be asking, right? Why do we care so much about Flow when things like Ethereum exist and, Ethereum is super popular, but we want to sort of get people involved in the Flow community and teach them what, Flow is all about. And then there's the non-developers, right? So maybe these are people that took a computer science class in college a few years ago, or they're trying to learn how to develop, and so they're really using blockchain as their starting point to become a software developer. And so it's really important that we include those people as well. So in terms of education, we're not really just focusing on people that know like complex software engineering, right? We're trying to include everybody here, and we can do that through the Flow ecosystem. And so how do we begin to do this? Well, we can educate through, these are some examples that I've done. So this is like some of the Learn Flow/Cadence series I've been doing on YouTube. I've also done a Flow Zero to Hero course, and I'm still in the process of developing. It's in its very early stages on GitHub. I've, done stuff like, the NFT marketplace, like your classic 3-hour cringe tutorial. But I'm really making the slide as a means of saying that all of us can sort of make these educational tools. And if you're interested in being an educator in the Flow ecosystem, let's work together and let's do this in sort of a DAO format. And so this is sort of like the process for education, at least in my eyes. There's many different entry points for developers of all levels. So you could, be a non-developer, you could, know some, React or whatever it is. So if we sort of look at this diagram here, right, there's people that, you start out by learning development. And so this is sort of like a beginner programmer. So they would start really in this box. There's people that are trying to learn the blockchain. So maybe, you've done some JavaScript, you've been a software engineer for a few years, but you don't really know about the Web3 space. And this is really where you can start your Web3 journey. And so there should be educational tools around this. Then there's learning Cadence, which is more specific towards Flow. So maybe you know some Ethereum, Web3, but not really Flow. So you could start in this box. And then, you learn the other tooling like JavaScript, Go, React.js, and learn the full scope of dApp development. And then you become a Flow blockchain god. So this is what I like to call myself sometimes. And this is sort of like the educational avenue for maybe how we're going to start approaching this educational aspect, right? If you want to be an educator, maybe come back to this diagram and think about which of these groups you're targeting and how we can help onboard people into the Flow community. But this sort of leads us to our point, right? So why Emerald City then? Why can't we just do this alone? Why not educate together in the form of a DAO? So what better way to do it? DAOs have seen explosive growth in the past few, I'd say even weeks or months in the Web3 space. And for those of you that don't know, a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. So this is a group of people that get together. Maybe they're governed by some sort of token, which I'll get into in a bit, but they're really working together to contribute to some sort of space or some sort of community. And so that's sort of why we are coming together as a DAO to sort of do this educational thing together, right? But this leads us into our next point, in which I'm sure why a lot of you are actually here. So DAOs on Flow, right? So if we are to make a DAO around the educational part of the Flow community, well, then how do we do that, right? So we're here, we want to make a DAO, but there doesn't exist tooling to help DAOs get started and function at a high capacity. So, we've been calling ourselves the first DAO on Flow. There have been other DAOs out there. We've seen some people in the Discord actually asking about, the DAO tooling because they have DAOs up and running, but they haven't been able to function at a high capacity. And that's because there doesn't exist tooling out there to help them get going. And for those of you that are familiar with Ethereum, you don't have to be, but there are tools that exist on Ethereum that don't exist on Flow. And these are things like Snapshot, right? So if you've heard of Snapshot, actually, I think it's the next slide. Yeah, so this is Snapshot, where there's a bunch of DAOs. So ENS, Sushi, Uniswap, Gitcoin, all of these are DAOs, and they have members in them. Usually they're token holders that want to vote on certain proposals, on like directional stuff about the DAO and stuff like that. But, this tooling, Snapshot, doesn't exist on Flow, right? So if you want to set up proposals with voting, you can't do that on the Flow blockchain right now. And so it's really hard for DAOs to sort of get going. And the main point here is that people want to found DAOs on Flow, like us, right? Like Emerald City. And they have brilliant ideas, but they can't. And they can't because of the fact that there's no tooling to help those people have a foundation for their DAO. And to start, developing the tooling that they need to actually get people going. And so another example of this is collab.land. And so this is a Discord bot that allows, Discord admins of a certain DAO to allow people into the DAO, maybe allow them into certain restricted channels based on whether or not they have tokens. And so, hold on, I'm just going to mute some people just so that I don't...
I'll mute them, Jacob. It's all right.
Okay, thank you, BC. Yeah, so collab.land is really... Oh, yeah, so, and Misters, yes, I've already encountered the problem of Snapshot and Flow wallets for the presence of NFT in one project. Yeah, exactly. Hold on, so I'm just going to mute some people. Okay. Yeah, exactly, right, Mister? So this tooling, right? So collab.land is really meant to help people, like, you go in Discord, you type like a join command, and it automatically checks your wallet to see if there are people, to see if that wallet has NFTs in them. But this doesn't exist on Flow. And this is a problem, right? Because it's hard for Discord owners to sort of manage their members. And so that sort of gets us into, and then Flow is much greater than Ethereum, right? So we all love Flow. This may be a hot take, but I had to include this in the slide, right? But because Flow is so much greater than Ethereum, and obviously this is just a joke, but maybe not, this gets us into, how, maybe we should handle that problem of tackling the DAO tooling, right? Because people need this. And so maybe, with all of our smart minds, we can sort of tackle this problem together. So we should make these tools, right? Authentication, Discord categorization, right? So it's no surprise that a lot of people have been using Discord as a means to organize their DAO. I haven't really seen other great solutions. And so, we need a way of organizing the Discord. And so collab.land is a perfect solution for this on Ethereum. Doesn't exist on Flow, right? Governance, Snapshot doesn't exist on Flow. Tokenomics, how do you even begin approaching the tokenomics on Flow, right? Proposals, right? Where do you submit proposals? Note-taking, should this be on GitHub? Should it be on Notion? Should we make our own tool for this? Scheduling, there's a lot of different things that sort of go on here. So Moya said in the chat, Dapper Collectives are super invested in building some of these tools. Yes, so that's another important thing that I'm actually going to mention towards the end of the presentation, but I would imagine that we're actually going to be maybe even working with Dapper Collectives to sort of build this tooling together. A bunch of Dapper Collective members have actually been joining our Discord, and we've been talking to them a little bit. So we'll sort of get into that towards the end of the presentation. Yes, and exactly. So super invested, so that's a really great point. So I'm just mentioning that for everyone else. I know that, so Moyes is actually, So then there's on-chain voting, which is like, on Snapshot right now, all the vote, I don't know if many of you know this, but on-chain voting doesn't exist on Ethereum right now. So when we talk about, things like Snapshot, that's all off-chain. So that's all handled in some sort of database somewhere, and that's not ideal. So why don't we even use, this new tooling as a means to tackle on-chain voting, right? So maybe we could even sort of handle that problem in the Web3 space in general. And so, so I'm also reading sort of some of the comments here. So Snapshot tool is the main tool that Flow lack of. Yep, exactly. And So is this only about tools for DAO or also dev tools? Main struggle I have right now is how to properly write tests. So this is more about DAO tooling. Yeah, so we're going to be mostly talking about DAO tooling for DAOs on Flow. So, So then, why not make the DAO tooling with a DAO? So again, this is sort of like the why Emerald City. Well, why wouldn't we just do this on our own? Why wouldn't we just make it our own personal incentive to develop DAO tooling? But I feel like there's no better way to do this. If we were to sort of combine the educational aspect with Emerald City with the DAO tooling, we could, sort of get into this next part, right? So our mission, DAO tooling, build the tooling for DAOs on Flow. But this is our mission, right? So our mission is to educate and to build the DAO tooling. Now this works really well because of the fact that we can sort of tie these two together, right? So this is where our next slide comes in, which is the sort of graduation. So what I'm imagining, and this is, completely up for debate and conversation, and I would love to talk to all of you about this, because of course this is not just for me to decide, but this is sort of like that educational tying into the DAO tooling, where if we're onboarding people into the Flow community and we're teaching Flow and Cadence, to developers and non-developers, when you learn a certain language, you want a way of applying this, right? How do we go from learning the Cadence language and then applying this to real life situations? Well, there's some of this already, where if you were to go into the Flow Discord, there's tons of people hiring for Cadence developers. There's tons of people looking for people that are developing on Flow. But why don't we give people sort of an avenue to apply their skills right away? And we can do this by, teaching people Flow and Cadence and educating them. And then they can almost graduate over a long period of time. This is sort of like a longer process. But why don't we then graduate them into building the DAO tooling? And this is sort of where Decentology, Dapper Collective, and some of those other, platforms come into play, is we will have bounties that are set up for people to contribute to the DAO tooling. So as you learn about Flow and as you become educated in the Cadence community, there will be bounties set up for you to sort of tackle the DAO tooling. And so that's a direct avenue to actually applying the skills that you've learned and building the DAO tooling. And of course, you'll have these skills for, if people are looking for Cadence developers, you'll be able to contribute to those projects as well. But this is sort of one avenue that you can apply your skills. And this is why this DAO idea sort of comes together, is we have people learning and we have people building, and they go completely hand in hand, because people that are building the DAO tooling can also serve as educators. Or we could have people that are just, educators on the side, teaching people about Flow and Cadence so that they can eventually contribute to the DAO tooling. And this is where we sort of get into the, the process for DAO tooling. And so I'd sort of like to just mention what John Kim said in the chat. So Dapper Collective plus Hyperverse plus Emerald City. Exactly. So, as Dapper Collective is sort of interested in building out this DAO tooling, and I'm so grateful that we have some Dapper Collective members here, as, they are interested in building the tooling, we can almost serve as a case study or as an example to build that tooling even with them, at least I hope, along with the Hyperverse, which is a Decentology initiative, to start building out, sort of the composable, and I'll explain all this later, but some of you have heard of like the composable aspects of the Flow blockchain to sort of, get people involved in building out the future of the Hyperverse. And so I'm going to go into that in a bit. And then, yes, we build this magical DAO tooling. So how do we even, begin to approach this? Well, this is sort of, at least, again, this is my vision for approaching DAO tooling, but I would love to hear some of your input on this. And, we could totally change this around as we see it. But this is sort of my initial vision. So discover, we discover the tooling that needs to be built. We discuss and vote on it. So is this something that we could see being helpful? Is this something that the community wants to tackle? Then we initialize it, right? So we start building it. Maybe this is just a few members. We form like an initial team, and we start building out this DAO tooling. And then, we sort of get to this proof of concept, right? So on testnet. Now, this is where I think things get really special, and I'm going to sort of walk through this in a bit, but we're going to start with these initial three parts, right? So what does discover, discuss, and vote, and initialize mean? Well, let's actually approach this using the flow.land example that we, initialized a couple days ago. So I know that a lot of you maybe became interested in this DAO because we were actually building out the flow.land for Flow, right? So, one of the things that we did initially was we started coding out that collab.land bot, which handles authentication on Flow. And a lot of you tested this by just doing like, the exclamation mark join. It took you to the website, you minted your tokens, and then you authenticated, and then it gave you the beta tester role. So this is that thing that I'm talking about, that flow.land. So how did we come up with that idea, right? How do we start building that DAO tooling? And this is where the chart really sort of got its ideas from, is Discover, right? So we saw collab.land, and initially, because there were only like 30 members in the Discord, this was just me and a few other people, we saw collab.land, and it didn't exist on Flow. So it's that simple, right? We saw that this existed, and we said, you know what? Maybe this is something that DAOs would need. And we thought to ourselves, right? So what tools do DAOs need? And in the future, because initially that was only a few of us, now we've reached around 350 members. We're going to keep growing more and more. As we grow, what will this look like? Well, this will be the future outreach. So people that, may not even be developers, right? So this is sort of a great way to contribute without even knowing development, is going out there, talking to DAOs, figuring out what they even need to sort of get their foot in the door and to start making their own DAO, right? So what tools do they need? So this will be a group that talks to DAOs, forms relationships with them, and figures out what is needed in the community, start building out that tooling, right? Then once that happens, we discuss and vote on it. So we talk to community members. DAOs really needed it, and they found it useful. So we were talking to some DAOs here and there. We were also figuring that maybe this is a tooling that DAOs would really, really appreciate, right? And we've actually seen a bunch of DAOs coming into Emerald City Discord and saying, hey, we would actually like this like tomorrow, right? So this is something that we would enjoy right now. And in the future, what would this look like? Well, again, this was initially when there were only a few people, but in the future, there'll be tons and tons of people, potentially with a token, and people will ask, should we work on this? Is this something that we want to tackle as a community, right? And of course, the answer to that was yes when we started doing Flow.land. And why should we take on this task, right? So why do they need it? And then again, do DAOs need this? Talk to people who want to form DAOs, and this is a tool that they would really need. And then once you do that, and once we vote on the fact that this is sort of something that we want to tackle, we initialized, right? So we started developing the Discord bot. We tested it with a very few amount of people, maybe like 1 or 2 people. This was just in like a private Discord call where we were like, you know what, do you mind testing this bot for us? We started developing, right? So we got a little team together and we started making that bot. And that gets us into the next part, so the proof of concept. And this is where I think is probably one of the most important boxes in this diagram, if not the most important part, is a proof of concept. So people like to see examples, right? This shouldn't be something where, we see an idea, we start developing, and then we sort of like hide in the background. We keep it secret from a bunch of people, and then we just like release it on mainnet and say you can use it now, right? It's really important that we involve community members at the beginning. Doing that because we want people's input right from the get-go, right? So we don't want to do this in the background and then be like, oh, someone had a really good idea, but it's too far in the process now. No, we want people involved right away. But the other thing that's really cool is because people love a proof of concept, right? And it's great to have a proof of concept because of the fact that people get interested. And we saw that happening with the Flow.land bot, right? So we had an MVP. This is sort of the proof of concept, right? So you would type dash join or exclamation mark join, and the Emerald bot would send you sort of like a link to verify. You were minting tokens. This is all you that were beta testers. You would mint your tokens on the site, and then you would click that verify account, and it would say, boom, you're verified, and you would get the beta tester role. So that was our proof of concept. Then after we made the MVP, we informed the community about it. So this was, my tweet on Discord, or the Emerald City tweet on Discord, that was like over 130 people joined the first DAO. We're so happy to have you. Welcome. And here's how you can test the bot. And so this is involving people that are both in the DAO and people that are outside of it. So people that might not even know about the Flow blockchain might see this and say, oh my God, they're making a collab.land version of Flow. And so not only, going back to sort of the beginning, not only are we educating people to onboard them, but we're also using this tooling as a way to onboard people into the Flow ecosystem because they see this and they're seeing things happening on Flow and they're getting excited about it. And this is why I love the proof of concept so much, is because it's so cool, even if it's not really like real yet and there's no real token. People are minting test tokens and they're seeing like a balance update in their account. They're seeing transactions on FlowScan, which is super cool to see, even if it's just to test. And then, of course, once we informed the community, there were testers. And so for those of you that were sort of in this Discord for the 3 days when we had, launched this bot, I woke up one morning and I had like 50 pings about people joining the Discord or people joining the beta tester. And I see some of you that are even in this diagram or in this call today. So that's, really cool to see. And I was so happy and so grateful that so many of you decided to actually test the bot. So thank you so much for testing the bot, for those of you that did. And it's still open, and so Emerald Beta token is mooning soon. 100% it will be mooning soon. I love that. So this is sort of where the proof of concept comes in. And so I think that this is an essential part to Emerald City, but I'm really curious to see what a lot of you think about actually having this sort of proof of concept out there for people to test. Right, and so then what comes after this? Well, this is sort of the generating interest part. So after we have a proof of concept, we generate interest, right? And so this is, we saw, of course, we saw like 70 people reacting to this. A bunch of people were excited about it. We have heart eyes, we have thumbs up, we have this cool little, what is that? A skeleton / mean face, candy, hearts, rocket ships. So people just super excited about the proof of concept. Alien, yes, that's what I was. How did that just completely? I didn't even. Okay, that just completely. I just forgot the word alien. I guess yes, alien. And this little red monster here. So we had, these 100 reacts. So people got excited about the proof of concept, and this is why I think it's so important, right? And so after we generate interest, well, then what comes next? And so this is where sort of we are now, is forming a team. So after we sort of generate interest, we're having this town hall meeting right now to sort of go over Emerald City, but now is also a perfect time to sort of form a team. So get people that are interested in building out this flow.land bot, and having people, curious about, actually getting involved and contributing. And so these are people that, yes, these are more on the developer side. So if you're a developer that's interested in getting your hands dirty with the Flow ecosystem, or even if you don't even have to know anything about blockchain code, a Discord bot is mostly just JavaScript. So this is a great opportunity for people to contribute, both that are not developers, both that are not blockchain developers, or blockchain developers. So even though, this is very developer centric, but, there's many ways to get involved. And then after we form a team, we develop it for every DAO. So we talk to other DAOs that want this tool. So we've seen DAOs coming into the Discord and saying, hey, we saw your Discord bot, which is, again, why the proof of concept is so important, because other DAOs see this bot happening and they say, you know what? We think this would be really cool for our Discord, but we need X, Y, and Z things to happen for this to be helpful, right? So they saw the proof of concept. They were saying, you know what? It would be really helpful if this detected NFTs, right? Not just fungible tokens, but also NFTs. And you know what? It would also be helpful if it did A, B, and C. And so that's why it's really important to talk to other DAOs to see what they would need and how they could find it useful. And so then we could develop it for every DAO, abstract it to work for all DAOs, and then mainnet, right? So then it's out there for everyone to use. People could just literally pull it into their Discord, use it, and then that's the end of the story. But this is, so that's the DAO tooling, but this is by far the most important slide that I want to get across. So I just mentioned a lot, right? The education, the DAO tooling, but this is by far the most important point that I wanted to get across in this, town hall. It's that there's a few points. One, you do not have to be a blockchain developer to build this tooling. So this is really crucial because a lot of people, come to the Discord and they say to me, well, I really want to contribute, but I don't know blockchain code, right? I don't know Cadence yet. And they say, well, I could contribute once we build out, once I learn Cadence. But one thing I want to get across is you absolutely do not have to know blockchain code to contribute. And the reason for this is because there's so much tooling out there. For example, the Discord bot that is like pure JavaScript. Right, so the Discord bot that I contributed to a lot was like 99% JavaScript. So if you don't know Cadence, you don't know the sort of blockchain stuff, 100% don't be scared to contribute. You 100% can contribute to this tooling. In addition, there are many ways to contribute without knowing how to code. And this is also so crucial because some people say, I really want to, get involved, but I don't know how to code. And I'm just starting to code now, but I really want to contribute in some way. And there's already a few examples of this. One is, Dean actually reached out, which I was so grateful for. Thank you, Dean, again, with the Genie Ace team. and was saying, you know what, we would love to contribute. And so our Twitter banner on Twitter is actually thanks to the Genie Ace team and Dean. So 100% check out their project. They've been doing really cool things. And yep, that's their little symbol that Calcoin sent in the chat. So check out their project, but so they contributed a Twitter banner, right? And that has no development even involved in it, right? That's pure art. And that's a great way to contribute to the DAO. But there's also many other ways to do this. And I'm going to get into that in a sec here. But the thing that's tying this all together is to say that we are here to teach you everything we know about blockchain. So whether you're a Web2 developer, whether you don't even know how to code, we are here to help you in your journey. And so you can use this as an opportunity. You can use Emerald City as an opportunity to get started in the Web3 world. So we are here to hold your hand, to answer your questions, to get you started in the Flow blockchain world. And we want to get you developing. We want to have you writing some Cadence stuff, or we just want to help teach you some computer science fundamentals. And that way you can take the learnings that you've had and sort of apply that to the DAO tooling in the form of bounties. So you'll even be getting paid for the work that you're doing. And so, yeah, so nobody believes me, but so far 100% of our hires have learned Flow from scratch when they have joined. 100% exactly. And so, that's so true, right? So people are super talented. They have a lot of skills and they have a lot of things to contribute. And one of the things that I often see in DAOs is that people get lost really quickly, right? Because they don't know where they can contribute. And they say, you know what, people are so talented, but they don't know how to apply their skills. And I'm here to tell you that you can apply your skills in so many different ways, whether that's blockchain, Web 2, not even a developer. There's so many ways for you to get involved. And one thing I do want to say is that if you don't know how to get involved, reach out to me directly. Personally DM me right in the Discord. Reach out to people. We're here to help you. And I will literally respond to you personally to help you get started and figure out where you want to contribute. And sort of to go over this in examples, right? So if you want to contribute on the blockchain stuff, here's an example of a blockchain smart contract that I wrote. This is on Flow on the view source. You can literally go view this if you want. But this is the Emerald Beta smart contract. So this is a screenshot of the smart contract I wrote. This is the contract that all of you were minting Emerald Beta tokens. This is because I wrote a contract for it. And so if you're a Cadence developer, boom, here's one way to contribute. Write some, transactions, scripts, smart contracts for us so that we can have some tests, right? So if we have a tooling that needs some blockchain code or Cadence code, bam, this is one way to contribute. Here's another way to contribute. So if you don't know anything about blockchain code, you don't even know what the Flow blockchain is, you don't even know what Cadence is, here's a few things you can do, right? So here's the Discord bot that all of you were typing !join. This is the Discord bot that was live, and this is currently live. You can even use the Discord bot right now. I'll do it in the chat right now. If I do !all roles, look, it comes up with all the roles you can get. And this is literally 99% JavaScript. So even if you know nothing about blockchain code, it's so important to have people like you contributing to the tooling. And here's a web page, right? So this is, listen, I'm no front-end developer. I'm terrible at front-end development. But even I was able to spin up a simple, web page to have people minting their tokens. And again, this is all React.js, so no blockchain involved. And then this is sort of my favorite slide because this is sort of like a heartwarming, wholesome slide about people that are contributing without even coding. So you can see here, there's no coding going on, but these are all community members that are actually also in this call. So BAM, DAppCoder, Amethyst, Kelcoin, people that are actually boosting the server. There's no coding going on here, but these are all people that are contributing to the Discord just by welcoming people in. Just by saying, hey, welcome to the community. We're so happy to have you. Or, even BAM said, welcome all of you to Emerald City. So making people feel welcome and making people feel like they have a home here at Emerald City, they're not even coding, right? So even if you know nothing about development, of course, you can, join the Discord and say, you can join the Discord and contribute and find a way to contribute. But even if you don't know about coding and you want to learn, you can still do stuff like this where you're welcoming people in, helping people find where they need to be, and just being a positive, role model inside the Discord channel. And so I just wanted to thank all of you for joining this town hall today. We have one more slide, but let's make a huge impact on the future of the Flow blockchain together. And by together, I mean us as community members with Decentology, which I'll mention in a bit. And also for those of you that are joining on behalf of Dapper Collective, thank you for joining. And I hope to work together at some point as well. And then, what is sort of like the next steps we can do here? So New Year's resolution, get all the Emerald Discord rules. Yeah, so exactly, right? But like what can we do next? So season 0. So I've sort of gone out there. I've talked to Chase Chapman, who is the DAO queen. Some of you may have heard of Chase, but she's really experienced in the DAO ecosystem. And she was saying, well, maybe we could even get a season 0 running, right? So before our next town hall meeting, let's talk about what things we want to start tackling initially, right? So season 0, maybe we get some working groups going. So like people that are interested in starting development, people that are interested in educating or building out the product or the tooling. Forming a team for Flow.land, or let's also decide on a cooler name. People that want to start developing this for every Discord, and figuring out what other tools DAOs need. So even if you know nothing about coding, we need people that are going out there, extending a helpful hand to DAOs out there on Flow, and figuring out what tools they need to start contributing. So these are sort of some next steps, but I'm also totally looking to all of you to sort of discuss what you might want to tackle next. And I'm reading through some of the comments here. You were awesome. Yeah. So thanks for all the positive stuff in the chat, but that sort of concludes my presentation. And I would love to hear what some of you maybe have to say. Feel free to unmute. Again, don't be scared. Nothing you say is stupid. Some people always say like, this may be a stupid question. Not at all. So we are 100% open to any experience level, that you may have. When burrito. Yeah, so John Kim knows that I love burritos. And so I would love to have a burrito right now. Flow.land is kind of cool, although maybe we want something. Yeah, no, we want something original, right? So we probably can't go with Flow.land, even though it sounds cool. But yeah, so if you have to run, I know all of you are very busy people. If you have to run, you can feel free to run. But I would love to sort of maybe have an open discussion about what all of you thought about this presentation, and maybe the next steps for the future. And again, if some of you are wondering where we can start going next, maybe we can even start getting a document together to start going over season 0. What are some of the things we're going to be doing in the next upcoming months, right? So at least in my head, it's sort of splitting into working groups, forming teams around already existing projects like Flow.land, and figuring out what other tools DAOs need so we can start contributing. And maybe even splitting into further groups where, maybe we have a working group for the bot, maybe a working group for the snapshot clone, stuff like that. And I'm sure that, we'll also get some many comments over the week, because if we have our town hall meeting next week, then maybe we could start even having these conversations offline, just asynchronous. Yeah, and also I'm curious to know if was this a good meeting time for all of you? We might want to start planning some like weekly sessions, and it might be good to sort of figure out a time that a lot of people can make it. So should we have a forms for this so people can apply for what they are interested in? Yeah, so pretty early for my lazy. Yeah, so that's funny. Yeah, so this is also early for me. So maybe we could do like maybe even 2 hours later or something like that. Meeting time is great, very EU friendly. Yeah, so that's the thing, is I know we have a very worldwide audience, so I want to make sure that it's late here, but I'm fine with it. Okay, yeah, so it's difficult because we have people that are super late and also super early. I'm not a developer, but I'm a user of a lot of Flow products, and of course there's something missing. Compared to other popular networks, there's not a huge field for activity. Long live Flow in all projects. I need to go. But thanks so much, Mister, for tuning in, and I'll see you either asynchronous or in the next meeting. Yeah, so BZ, so you were mentioning how can people start getting involved right now? Well, if you're a developer and you're interested in helping out with the Flow.land bot, please let me know in the I'll say in the Flow category under the general chat. Just send a message there saying that you're interested in sort of joining that team. Again, you don't have to be a blockchain developer. This is a lot of JavaScript, a lot of stuff like that. And we would love to have you contributing right away. And, one plan that we also have is to start actually giving people access to this bot literally in the next week, so that we can have some DAOs on Flow actually having this Discord bot, so that they don't have to manually assign people roles anymore. They can start using the bot to authenticate people. Thanks, BC, for linking that. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So if you're interested in working on the bot, just send a message in that chat in that BZ linked, and we'll start forming a team around actually coding out this bot for all DAOs on Flow. Um, and then another way to contribute, like I was saying earlier, is that if you're interested in reaching out to some DAOs on Flow and figuring out the tooling that we'll need, we also would love a team around that to sort of like get to know some of the DAOs in the ecosystem. Um, to start figuring out what tools they need. So never going to be easy time. Yeah, exactly, right? Because it's global. But I'm glad this worked for you, Dean. So, of course, would love having you in these calls. Oh, and also one thing that I could mention too is if I actually I am in for reaching out for DAOs. Perfect. So that'd be great, Bam. One thing I also do want to mention is if we actually go to this link here, this is one thing that Chase had directed me to. But so for those of you wondering what like a season 0 is, well, a season 0 is really like a group of time it's basically like a period of time in a DAO where you're all sort of focused on certain tasks. And so this is one example. So this is M Club. If those of you have heard, this is like Mira Club. This is a DAO, I believe, on Ethereum. And they sort of set up a proposal document for what a season is. So they say, what's a season? A season is a period of time when members can come together to align on projects and experiments. And they set up this document where they can even like vote on it, right? So they say like, okay, what are our key objectives? Oh yeah, so I'll actually drop that link for you here. I'm in for community moderator. Great. So yeah, so then people say like, season 1 key objectives, right? Establish clear process for deciding which projects to support, supporting at least 2 projects. These are key goals. So for us, this would be like, so season 1 key objectives. Oh, I need to share access. Oh, let me share access to everybody. Hold on one second. So share with, I think I'd make this everybody, right? So anyone? Okay, I think it should be open to you guys now. And I'm just gonna make this yes, a viewer. Right, so this is what we're looking at right now. But if we look at this, right, so if we were to sort of make this our own, right? So if we were to say, okay, so this is for Emerald City season 0, what are some of our if we were to have like a season 0 here, what are our key objectives? Well, one key objective is to, put flow.land on mainnet, right, on mainnet for every DAO, right? So maybe in 2 or 3 months, whatever period of time we decide season 0 should be, we say, you know what, we want, by the end of the season, we want flow.land to be on mainnet. And with that comes, reaching out to DAOs to see what they would like to have in flow.land. So what are some of the features that flow.land should have? And we can do that through reaching out. And so, another key objective is like forming product teams, and you sort of get the gist, right? So these are objectives that we'll have during the first season. And then they go over structures and community structures, and they form different committees. So that, we could have here like a product committee, and then we also have like a governance committee. And then we also like another committee we have is like a community committee, forming groups to sort of go over what our key objectives are. But this is something that we can maybe even handle offline, where we could all contribute to, talking about how we split up into groups and how we organize. So, yeah. And again, if any of you have any comments about this, feel free to either unmute or type in the text channel. Do you want going back to sleep? I have no experience in blockchain product development, but I'm a .NET developer. That's perfectly fine on Chase. So we could totally use a lot of that talent in the Emerald City Discord. Like I said, there's definitely no need to know blockchain code. Plus, exactly right. So education committee. So that's a great one right there. So education. Oh, I put that in the wrong one. So like an education committee, right? So people that are focused on, actually teaching other people about cadence and flow, and helping each other along the process. I would like to try to develop something for Flow. Great. So one great way to do that is to sort of like start learning the Cadence language and reaching out. And I would love to personally help you on your journey to sort of help you learn Flow. And then we can have you, we can find a way for you to sort of pick up one of these projects like the Discord bot or maybe even the education part or maybe another tooling that we'll find out eventually where you can start applying some of your Cadence knowledge to that project. The Python Discord is a great example of how they grew a community, how the Python Discord bot was a great entry point for new contributors. That's a great point, right? So, so right there, is exactly what I'm talking about, right? So the Python Discord, right? So people are joining the Python Discord because they want to know more about Python. And what greater way to do that than to actually have a Python Discord bot to sort of have a showcase or an example of what Python can be. And that's exactly what we're sort of going to do here is people are joining Emerald City to learn about Flow and Cadence, but also to start contributing to DAO Tooling. And what better way to do that than to have an Emerald City Discord bot that teaches Flow and is an example of DAO Tooling in the Discord itself. So that's a great connection right there.
他干什么啊？啊？现在几点钟了还要吃草莓啊？
Oh,
I
sorry.
think it has to mute.
Oh yeah, yeah. He might just not be muted. So
Yeah,
Coffee, if
exactly.
you meant to mute, then
Okay.
this is the first DAO I'm participating in, but we have plans to create one for our product at Genius. What would be helpful is just to know what DAO tooling exists already or what is being developed. If people know what these already are, I'd love to see the long list, or I'm happy to volunteer to go collate a list for some research. Might be another way rather than asking me what they want if they don't know yet. Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So yeah, so Dean, that's a great point, right? So this is sort of touching into what I was mentioning earlier in that, right? Like there doesn't really exist that many DAOs on Flow, and so it's sort of up to us not only to develop the tooling, but to figure out what needs to be there. And one way to do this is actually through here. I'll actually put this on the screen so we can all view this together. But one way to do this, is to like figure out what tooling exists on Ethereum. So I did that with like collab.land, for example, like what tooling exists that we would need on Flow. But also, sort of figuring out, what like reaching out to Flow DAOs and seeing what they need to sort of get going. So you're saying happy to volunteer. That'd be great. And Dapper Clubs are also in the process of building a list. Want to share open up ASAP? Yeah. So this would be super helpful as well, because if we sort of know what tooling is needed, then we can start forming teams around what people are interested in and how they want to contribute. So this is really important as well. Yeah. And Dean, especially, if you're thinking about creating one for your product on Genius, then I would imagine that once you start to get that DAO going and people are joining, I think quickly you'll start figuring out what tooling would be important to you, because of course every DAO is going to have individually tooling that's helpful to them and their project. But would love to sort of collaborate on this and know what maybe you see that would be helpful for us to start developing for you. Because right now you're mentioning like tooling that exists already. There's barely any tooling that exists for Flow DAOs besides like maybe the early versions of Flow.land, which we hope to open up to the future, of course. But so with that, I know we've been here for 50 minutes, and I know that a lot of you have stuff to go do. So I'm happy to sort of end this call here. But as long as people are interested in sort of diving into some of these other things, right? So maybe coming up with a season 0 document, splitting into groups, forming a team around Flow.land and figuring out what other tools DAOs need, which I think yeah, so that sort of ties in here, which is like, Dr. Collective in the process of building this list, so that would be very helpful for like figuring out what tooling DAOs need. Yeah. And in addition, the one last thing I will say before we all sort of head out here is that one thing that would mean a lot to me is if, during these next town hall meetings, what I would love to see is people that have their own ideas for DAO Sunflow or people that have their own, DAO tooling in mind. Feel free to just totally speak up and even give like a short little presentation or talk on what your DAO sort of hopes to achieve. Because if we could also use this Emerald City DAO to start, helping DAOs on Flow, getting them going, having people interested in those DAOs, it'll help build this DAO community on Flow, and I think it'll create a more beneficial and healthy process for all of us. Of course, yeah. So I'm 100% going to share these slides with all of you. Let me actually do that right now. So share. I can share this with. I think I did this before, right? So anyone. Perfect. Okay, so copy this link and put it in here. +1, and a recording if possible. Yeah, so I'm actually going to be, so this is actually being live streamed on YouTube, on my Cringe YouTube channel. So I'll share that recording as well. So yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's plan to have a town hall meeting maybe next week. And in the meantime, it would be great if we could all sort of like start doing some of these things offline in this Discord together. My plan is to keep these Discord channels at a minimum because I don't like to have a lot of Discord channels. I like that it's sort of like succinct and it's easy for people to sort of see what's going on. So, you could talk about it in the DAO discussion, in the general chat on Flow and Project Help, anything. Feel free to just talk about these things offline, and let's regroup next week. So, thank you, everybody, and I'm waving at my screen goodbye to all of you. This was an awesome part. Thank you, Dean, and once again, thank you for your contribution. So, bye, everybody. I'll see you next week.
Thanks, Jacob. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Jacob. See
Thanks,
ya.
BC. Bye. Bye, Bam. Bye, Kelcoin. Bye, Amethyst. Bye, Kyle. Love the My Hero Academia. Thank you, Dozzy Stun. I hope I pronounced that right. Bye, Ty. Super exciting. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much. Bye, Moyes. I'll be the last to leave. Yeah, I'm just going to stick around in case people wanted to talk to me individually or whatever it may be. I'm going to end the stream there. So I'm going to stop.